How's it going, everybody? It is Friday. It's Friday night here in the UK. So I put a shirt on, poured myself a glass. How is everyone today? I hope you're all doing good. Good to see so many of you in the live chat there. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm just checking all my settings. Everything's looking good. So before we bring some guests on, I just wanted to say I'm looking forward to speaking to these guys tonight. UAPx is an organization that I've supported from the start, really. I think we need more people like this doing the work, and they've certainly been putting the work in. Now, this is going to be a bit of a mixture of a conversation. We're going to be talking about serious stuff, but also just want to have an organic conversation, you know. So please keep it cool and calm and collected in the chat, and we'll get through this without any hiccups. So yeah, thank you guys. So let's bring in some chaps. First of all, I'd like to introduce Mr. Jeremy McGowan. Jeremy, how are you?
I am doing great, Vinny. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm not bad at all, my friend. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Let's bring in Mr. Jason Turner. How's it going, man?
Good,
How you doing?
Good.
Let's bring in Mr. Gary Voorhis. Oh, we can't because he's fashionably late.
Of course.
As always.
I'm pretty sure this happened last time as well. But Gary, I can give that to him. It's cool. He's allowed. He's the president, El Presidente.
He's Mr. Mom.
I tell you what, Vinny, just for you, brother, I'll send him a text message and yell at him.
Do it, man. Do it. Actually, I should have checked that. Yeah, nah, it's all good. So, yeah, I spoke to you guys just before now, and I said I wanted this to be a bit more of an organic conversation because we can talk about certain things with regards to the UAPx, but we know that currently you're under an NDA. So maybe we should just remind people about that. If either one of you wants to just remind how that started and where we're at and how long's left. Just a brief kind of overview, let's say.
Yeah, so basically, we're going to have to be very choosy in our descriptions right now. We've gotten a secondary directive to not really discuss anything about the reason that we're under an NDA. The information is out there previously, but suffice it to say that our primary expedition that we've completed was privately funded. And because we received private funding for that expedition, the individual or group who gave us the money to do that required a very specific NDA for a while. Let me see if I can adjust the gain on my mic. Is that any better? Testing 1, 2. So, Vinny, you're muted as well.
I'm on mute as well. How amateurish. Sorry, Gary. Gary, you're on mute, by the way. And I think he's on his phone.
And I think he's frozen.
Oh no, he's not frozen.
Yeah.
Oh, the joys of StreamYard and live streaming, eh?
First world problems. Yeah, so what I was saying is basically due to the individual and group who privately funded us, they had a requirement that we sit on any announcements or publications until a very specific date. So we can't really discuss it or talk about it. Our goal in the future is to raise enough money to be able to conduct these expeditions without having to be encumbered by these NDAs.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, it's fully understandable. You're an organization that needed help, I suppose. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. With no funds coming in from anywhere, the opportunity to be able to be funded to go and do an expedition or research or anything like that, I guess you have to take those opportunities. So for me personally, I understand.
I am having some microphone problems, so you guys take it over until I can fix this.
Yep, cool. No worries. Jason.
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
I'm alive. A little cold
Good.
up here, but
Is it cold?
Yeah, we're supposed to get slammed this weekend with some snow, but the joys of living in the mountains.
Nice, man. Gary, can you hear us? Give us a thumbs up at least, brother.
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just
There
gonna
he
be
is.
Hey,
cutting
there
off
he is.
because I'm gonna have you caught me like right as I'm about to travel. Yeah, so I've got kids running around. I've got a million things going on.
What's that?
Is that me?
That was
That was Jeremy.
Did I fix it?
No.
yeah.
No.
Wait, yeah, you did. I think.
Testing. 1, 2.
Yeah, that's a lot better. A lot better.
Okay.
Sorry,
All right.
Gary. Hold on. I think Gary's muted himself there.
Yeah, sorry guys. My
I'm about to
system
have
had defaulted to my
watching
video
work
camera
here,
instead of the
so.
mic.
We're back. We this is the joys of live streaming, so it's all good. So Gary, we were just the first thing Jeremy just spoke about was well, I sort of started by saying that I was fully aware, and I think a lot of people are, that you're currently under an NDA. So I didn't expect you guys to be able to come on here and give us any huge revelations or talk about anything you did with your expeditions that were funded. And then Jeremy just gave us a brief reminder of how that sort of came about. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that. You were funded to go out and do an expedition, as it were. Totally understand.
Yeah. We can't really talk about the apparently we can't talk about what it is either anymore, according to the person that either way, we may or may not have done something that was paid for by somebody at one time with our equipment.
Basically.
Do you think that'll cover the NDA, guys?
Yeah, that was the short version of what I said.
Yeah.
Of course, people couldn't hear me when I said it, so.
But basically, in a nutshell, be on the lookout for something from us around April, May time frame. Once that drops, then we're going to be able to be a lot more candid about what we have. And the only thing I want to, there's a rumor out there that we have like 600 hours of like raw footage of just UFOs. Or UAP, that's a bit exaggerated. We may or may not have a lot of hours of data, but it has not been analyzed, and we don't know exactly what's on everything yet.
Yeah, I saw a couple of clickbait headlines like scientific group has 600 hours of UFO footage. I mean, I saw them when they dropped, and I was like, oh no, this is gonna look bad. People are gonna start getting the wrong impression, and you know how things spread. And yeah,
it was funny too, because when we crafted that press release, it was everybody on the entire UAPx team read the press release, gave their edits. We had our physicists look at it. We all approved of the wording that was in the press release. And then within minutes of that thing dropping, people had taken the taglines and changed them to make it sound like something that it was totally not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't take them long at all. I mean, I saw it that morning. I mean, it was morning for me. Woke up, saw the press release, posted it, and even I was seeing things within 30 to 60 minutes. Like, no, this is not what it says. Like, come on.
Yeah,
it was just
well, I think
be
people
absolutely
are so
clear
anxious to get to the point of disclosure that they, that I don't know, and it's also to generate traffic to their websites and stuff.
Of course.
So a lot of times you've really gotta just use your discernment.
Yeah, and to be clear, we during at least 2 expeditions that we've gone on, we have collected hundreds of hours of video. It's almost impossible for anybody, any group, anywhere to analyze things in real time. So when we go on an expedition, we have all of our equipment, pointed at the sky, our cameras are rolling, and they're rolling for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or as long as we're out there. So obviously we're going to have hundreds upon hundreds of hours of video. Now, the onus is up on us to sift through the video, use the custom code that our physicists are developing, and attempt to find anomalous objects in the video. When we do that, then we go through standard procedures to try to explain all of those. What we're left with it remains to be known until we've finished the analysis. So while everybody is saying we have 600 and some hours of UFO video, that's not true. We have hundreds of hours of video from multiple locations, of which we may have UAP in there after our analysis.
Yeah, totally. And these are not just videos, are they? Isn't it multiple sensor systems to some degree? Are you able to talk us through the kind of different systems and sensors that you have utilized, not necessarily for the NDA mission or expedition, but in general, what you've got or had access to in the last 12 months?
Yeah, we've had a really good working relationship with a university who has kindly loaned us some equipment. We've acquired equipment that was designed by some folks at MIT, which is a piece of tech that detects cosmic rays, but more specifically muons and gamma particles. We utilize custom-built quantum random number generators, which are in place so that the idea, to be clear, we don't expect anything to show up on the quantum random number generator. We just don't expect it. But what it is it's up and running, and it's creating basically a stream of ones and zeros. And the idea is that if a UAP appears, perhaps their propulsion system or something about it would cause some sort of quantum flux that affects the output of the quantum random number generator. Yeah. So when this is time stamped and synced with the FLIR systems and the survey meters and everything else that we're using, it just lends to be corroborating data. But to be honest, we don't expect it to show anything.
So you've got FLIR systems you just mentioned. I assume you've just got standard video. Are there any other spectrums of vision? I mean, I'm not very technical, so forgive me, but are there any other, things like that that are pointed upwards as well?
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't quite go into a lot of that just because it's kind of content for the unsaid project that we're not allowed to talk about.
I understand completely, and yeah, I won't ask anymore. No, I was fully aware that these things might crop up, and this is kind of, again, I think it's a good thing in a way because it gives people an idea of where you're at, where you've been, and what you can and can't say, because you're tied into something,
and the frustration that we're under.
Right.
Yeah. And as much as we're frustrated, we realize that everybody else out there is frustrated as well, because we did release the end of year statement. People got the idea that we have data, and we do have data. We just don't know what it says yet, right? So one of the things that we're looking forward to in the future is really being able to nail down a cohesive strategy for fundraising. That way, we never have to suffer through the NDAs ever again. And we're going to look towards the community. We're going to look towards the general population, and hopefully they vent their frustration with this through their donations to UAPx, because the more that they contribute, the less we have to deal with direct third-party funding, and the more open access and real-time events we can pass on to the public.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And one thing I will say is that I can imagine that if for the frustration that people out there looking in may feel, the only thing that I can say is if you hadn't have accepted the funding to be under the NDA, then you wouldn't have gone out and got any hundreds of hours of data or anything. So, the fact that people have to wait and they're like, well, we want it now. Like, well, just think about that. If they hadn't got this funding and we're under this NDA and we had to wait till April or May, we wouldn't be getting anything in April or May, no matter how big or small. I don't know what you've got, but I think you understand the point where I'm coming from. And, there's no two ways about it. You kind of have to take these things, and I get it.
And one thing that I want to make sure everybody understands is that regardless of the source of funding, it does not affect our results. We don't bend towards a narrative, and we don't change the data to reflect the wishes of whoever it is that donated the money.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I hope that for anybody out there that was unsure or frustrated about that, I hope that lays it out a bit more understandably for you. So we won't dwell on that too much. One thing I wanted to kind of just get, and it's going back a little bit, is to probably the early days of UAPx, and it was, it was Kevin Day, I think, that was the one that kind of, I don't know if he set it up or was, the lead guy, let's say, but I'd be very interested to know how things started and then changed over the past year or two from, with yourself, Gary, becoming the president and that. Are you able to just give us a little bit of how that change happened? No worries.
Jason, you want to take over for Gary for a moment?
Yeah. So, well, here's what Kevin originally came to us with the idea of creating UAPx. Kevin Day did. Yeah. And of course, a lot of us were like, oh, well, heck yeah. And then we were kind of loosely affiliated with everything. And it was just kind of everybody to each, their own man for here and here and here and here and here. And it was just really disorganized, not to the fault of Kevin, and not to the fault of anyone. It's just the way that the cards fell when we all came in here together. Gary, you're kind of sideways. Fix yourself.
There we go. Oh,
and there he goes.
So then, it got to the point where we were getting nowhere, and Gary and I had talked to Kevin, and Kevin kind of, he did the one thing that it's hard for anybody who creates something to do, and that was to kind of give the reins over to Gary and let him run it. And we needed some organization, and that's what we started doing. And some people kind of got upset, and that's okay. It is what it is. And I took over as VP there for a while of the organization, and then I went to Gary and I had an idea, and that was to separate the science from the administration part of the organization in general. And that's and that's when I decided to kind of step aside and let Kevin Knuth take over as VP. For me, it's just it made sense to have someone of his caliber running on the vice president side and also over all of the scientific stuff, while we grunt workers are just over here doing what we do. And it's kind of taken a bit to get used to, and everybody just kind of getting used to their roles. And but I feel like as of now, things are really starting to fall into place. And we've taken some hits, and that's okay.
Of course.
And that's the one thing I want to really kind of iterate to people, that as long as I'm still in the company, I'll just keep rebuilding. I don't really care. People are going to come and go. Some people will leave on their own accord. Some people will get removed from the company for this reason or that reason. But I think that at this point, we're all out of people that could be removed, if that makes any sense, because when you inherit something, you kind of inherit the whole package and then kind of have to sort through everything. Now, there's a lot of personality differences with a lot of the people that have left the company and me. And generally, I don't agree with a lot of these guys half the time, but that's the point. Me and Jeremy go back and forth, me and Jason go back and forth, but the people that are left, these are some of the most intelligent, creative, talented people I've ever worked with, so, as long as I've got such a diversity of people, we're going to continue to, grow. And, even right now that we've split the company into two halves, where, me, Jeremy, and Jason are basically dealing with, developing the company's administration side, developing the, revenue for the company, developing, all of the support mechanisms to allow Kevin and his science team to do the research, and then when we go do one of these expeditions, then it's all hands on deck. Then that's when, the grunts like us can, kind of sit in and, set cameras up, record data, do data sets so that when we do go back, that we have this very, very specific data to go through where we can correlate all of this data together to create these event situations that they're easily, well, they're not easily disproved once you get all the correlative data together. And it doesn't prove anything other than either something happened or there was something going on at that time, so that's the other thing that people need to realize is that we are coming from we're not really sitting in a circle hoping that something comes down and talks to us, or anything like that. And I'm not trying to discourage anybody from doing that. I actually have been going to one of these groups pretty locally to me. Jeremy, you really need to fix that soundboard.
That's my home alarm system. The dog just went out back.
So we can, it's just so that we can maximize our efforts and maximize every dollar that we do have, so we don't have, we're self-funded and by donation only. The one time we ventured into having somebody pay for things, the great opportunity that we had, it's still so restrictive. I don't like the restrictions, but
Sure.
The opportunity was so good, we took it. But it's still, but then the company and the data still remained with us, which is the only reason why we accepted it. So it's a long haul, and it's going to be a longer haul for us all to get to where we really want to be. But I think once our ball is rolling, then it's going to be pretty exponential at that point.
Yeah, I completely agree, to be honest. And one thing you just said there is you called yourself grunts, and you even put yourself in with that, Gary. And that shows a good structure that as president, you still put yourself on that same level as the rest of the team. So the structure's right, the friendships are right. And that comes across to me personally that,
everybody that's left in the company, I consider family.
Exactly.
These guys, I care about them, their families. Somebody pops on the signal and it's like, hey, I got this with my daughter, or I got this with my parents, or I'm going to be out of town with some family. It's just like, okay,
Nice.
just whatever is expected from them, there stops and it's done. Plus, a lot of, we're lucky where, I got lucky where I was able to have a situation where I could do this full time. Jason has a lot of commitments, but he definitely, is basically almost full time. Jeremy, while he's in his, job hunt, is basically working full time too. So we've got a lot of work that we're trying to get done now while we have the opportunity to do it, so that hopefully we may be able to hire people to eventually do some of this full time administrative work later on. That's the ultimate goal, is to start having employees, start being able to have people that really know what they're doing.
Of course.
At least with administration, that stuff just gets sticky. I've had to, filling out that nonprofit paperwork, I had to do it line by line, look up about 1 billion definitions, because just because you think what something means, it doesn't mean that the IRS defined it that way. So, and of course, that definition could be different. So you got to be double checked, because there's a couple of things I checked, and apparently I checked it from the wrong year's version of the rules.
Right.
So you basically kind of have to learn a basic CPA skill set just to get it done. And it took me a while, but it got done, and it's now just in a review process right now, so that I know that I didn't completely jack it up. And then we're going to submit that probably. I get back in like 2 weeks. It'll probably be submitted right when I first get back in 2 weeks.
Nice. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
and then it's all dependent on the federal government to approve it or tell us that we screwed up the paperwork and send it back to us for an edit.
Yeah.
But this is the thing as well. I think it's important to show people that you're just regular guys like everybody that could be me or everyone in the chat here who are just taking it upon themselves to do something within this field. And you're not different than the average Joe and that. And I don't mean that in a negative way or a derogatory way.
I'm sitting in my truck doing this interview with you because I've got 4 boys and my daughter sitting in the house because life happens. My brother's kids got kicked out of their daycare, and now guess whose house they get to go to after school every day. So that was something that just happened. So it's like, that's life, and luckily my sister-in-law is going to hang out here for a little bit to make sure they don't kill each other while I'm sitting out here with you guys. But probably at the top of the hour I'll probably have to head out. But
sure.
Kristen Thompson asked a question, where is UAPx in 5 years, which I thought was a great question. And I'll go ahead and say this, probably with Gary and Jason in agreement. If we do our job right, we don't have to be here in 5 years.
Nice.
Well, if we do our job right, we'll be developing new technology in 5 years.
Yeah, our mission statement will change.
Our mission statement will have to change a little bit from trying to figure out what UAPs are to studying the technology and developing new technology from UAPs. So, and I mean, even if because like our first goal is basically almost done, to be honest, because with the federal government basically saying that these things are real, that's like half the battle right there. I mean, everybody wants to hear all the nitty gritty stories that everybody's been told in the back channels since, the 30s, but we kind of have to grow up with that. That's not going to happen. You're lucky to get what you got from 2003 on. And that's all that's where it's going to stay. They're never going to admit anything back past that. It's too much liability, too many careers that ended over stigmas, too much lost revenue over issues, God forbid you get into the really dark and nasty stuff.
And I think that's what kind of puts us, differently here, is because like when you say taking funds and grants and stuff from the federal government, once they get their hands in to an organization, they don't take their hands out, and that's a problem. That becomes a huge problem within the community, and that's something we're going to try to avoid like the plague, because once you give over the reins of your organization to meet the demands of the federal government, now you have to, now you're silenced, and thank you. No, thank you.
One of the things that I wanted to make clear to everybody is we don't work for or with this or any other government. We haven't taken federal funding. We get no grant money. We haven't gotten any government contracts, and we don't directly supply any of our data to any of the intelligence communities. Once it's out there, we can't stop them from looking at it or using it, but we don't give it to them. Right. And a lot of folks out there think that UAPx, when we say that we're collecting data, they think that we're collecting historical data from past cases or from the CIA reading room or something. That's not it. We have a full team with a plethora of equipment out there, boots on the ground, getting the data in real time. We're not cherry picking anything. It's, if we record something, we record it. If we don't, we don't.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So this is data that you go out and get yourselves.
Yes, it's our data, not anybody else's.
Not saying we're not interested in seeing anybody's cool footage. I mean, I'm not trying to invite I get a landslide of this stuff, constantly. Hey guys, look at this, and
tell me about it.
Well, people have to remember though, for a scientific analysis of their footage, there's only so much we could do, even if we did do an analysis on it. A, we weren't there. B, we have no way of knowing. We don't know what device they filmed it on. We don't know where they were, their GPS location, the azimuth of the camera. We don't know. There's so much we don't know about that film that, as far as I'm concerned, every single thing I get is a really good fake.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I get you. Yeah.
We've even thrown away some of our own stuff because we forgot to set the azimuth on a camera.
Wow.
And we couldn't go back and say, well, we think it was at 263 degrees.
Sure.
Because we don't know. So we
Yeah.
have to discount whatever it was that camera captured because we were the dumbasses that
Or-
failed to set the azimuth.
Or we got to go back and basically verify the azimuth from other cameras, because if
Yeah.
there was another camera that caught the same event, then we can kind of we can figure it out. But yeah, so like he said, we've had and unfortunately during certain circumstances that we'll be able to talk about further later, that may have happened a couple of times. So
Hey,
And
I can
to be
imagine.
to kind of really hit it home, there was one incident. I'm no dates, times, or locations, but we thought we had caught something that was really, really important, but we couldn't use it because, like I said, we had no idea where the camera was pointing. Luckily, we had other cameras that were around that had taken pictures of where that camera was. So we had to go back into Google Maps, get satellite imagery of where we were posted up, and use trigonometry to figure
Wow.
out how the camera was pointed, what the elevation of it was, what the direction of it was, and then figure out, kind of go back into the data and plug in the directionality of the camera to be able to use that data.
Wow, that's amazing. I've just noticed this comment here from my friend Lara, Paranormal Pixie, saying, "Could you give an example of a typical investigation day?" Yes, the boring details too. And I'll just follow up with saying, so if you get to a location and let's say you've got the Osiris and any other extra equipment, is there a base level of what you want set up immediately to start the day? And as you start that, I'm just going to check on my daughter. I've heard a shout.
all right. Well, for
I'll
me,
hear you.
I'm going to go ahead and take that one because of we can't really talk about.
It all starts with coffee.
Oh yeah, coffee and breakfast.
Yeah.
A lot of coffee.
But what and how we did our current first expedition, we can't really talk about. But I can talk about how we plan on setting things up in the future. So if you can picture two trucks, the Osiris and a second vehicle that's very similar, towing two military-style trailers that are what size are those trailers?
6x8s.
They're 6x8 military trailers with antennas sticking out of them, and then an RV pulls up behind that. That's going to be our basic setup for remote locations. Then we'll set all of our gear up. We'll have standalone stuff that's set up and dialed in by azimuth and direction and everything. And then we'll also have these two pull behinds that we're going to have in our truck that we're going to be able to go drop off to basically triangulate data with. And then, of course, we'll be able to use our trucks as mobile command centers, but the actual, the camper or the mobile home or the camper will actually be set up for, that'll have basically a nerve center in it, and plus provide us a nice little comfy spot to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm not, no offense, but I'm 41 years old, so glamping is all the rage for me. I'm not looking to pitch a tent in the middle of Sedona. So,
and as far as equipment's concerned, we have to spend a lot of time just getting the baseline measurements, because if we throw a survey meter or one of our muon detectors out there and record readings, it makes no sense to do that without understanding what the natural background is. So right now, we even have Matthew Shadagas, our one of our physicists, who is using this equipment on commutes and in aircraft, and he is taking basically coast to coast background readings with this thing so that we can use it as comparative measurements.
Yeah, and this is one thing that I wanted to reiterate to people as well, is that you guys are quite separated, like location-wise, where you live and things like that. It's not like you guys just get together every Saturday and go out and do this and
no, we're quite a bit away. I'm in Florida. Jeremy's in Las Vegas. Jason, he's up in Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Georgia, and we got Michael Hall. He's out in California, and then we got Matthew and Kevin are up in New York.
Chris
And then we got
Altman's in
Chris Altman. He's over in the Philippines. So,
Wow.
yeah, so we're pretty spread out. You know, maybe someday, you know, if we ever get those big numbers like MUFON, not comparing our company with MUFON, but if we ever get that kind of operational, you know, funding, you know, we might have a brick and mortar building where we all can be,
Yeah.
you know, where we
Yeah,
can.
it's good to have goals, man.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I don't really see too much of a necessity for the brick and mortar stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we work great remotely already. Plus, we all have families. We love the areas we live. I know. I think me and Jason are about the only people that are really kind of looking forward to getting the hell out of Dodge from where we're at. I honestly love the laws in Florida, but I hate the weather.
Really?
Yeah, I absolutely think this weather here is atrocious. Anything over 65 degrees with a breeze and zero humidity is horrible weather to me.
Come to
Oh,
Vegas.
that's
brother.
funny, man.
Come to
I
Vegas.
live in the north of England, and you know the reputation of England. I'm like in
I'll
that.
take your overcast, cloudy, dreary, bone chilling. I understand that chill in your bone that you get in that weather. And you know what? I can live off that stuff.
Wow.
Here in
Dude,
Vegas, it's like baking cookies in your oven, opening up the door to the oven, sticking your face in it, and there's no cookies.
Yeah, but that was just you opening your front door.
Yeah.
In Florida, it's like you open your front door and you have to. You literally got to go get a freaking scuba mask to breathe in Florida because it's so humid.
Yeah. Damn, that's crazy, isn't it? How you get used to where you live, and then you kind of, man, we should all house swap.
I don't want to be where Jeremy is. I've been out that way. I've been to Vegas a number of times, so it's nice. And if you go over where we were at UFO MegaCon over in where was that, Jason? My brain farted. Laughlin.
Yeah, Laughlin.
What was that? During the winter we were there.
It was fall.
That's Nevada, right?
Yeah. So if you go out there during the cold months, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But during the summer, it's an absolute nightmare. You know, I mean, it's a desert. So I mean, not my cup of tea.
Hey, I was just looking in the chat. Yeah, I'm in the chat. About somebody was asking about like doing investigations and stuff, and I had mentioned, you know, like kind of the cost of how much it costs to do it, and
right.
You know, for like a week-long investigation, it costs a lot of money. People don't realize just how much it costs to get, you know, for one, travel, you know.
Well, just the location we were at was $1,000 an hour to rent the location.
Yeah,
$1,000 an hour.
We were
an
there
hour.
for 5 days.
Yeah, we were there for 5 days, but your typical 5 day. I mean, you got to remember, you got to have house or lodging, you got to have transportation, you got to get there. So you got people coming in from all over the place. Then you got to move your equipment. So it adds up.
Luckily for us, for our first expedition, we had somebody that was lending us a lot of really, you know, great equipment. You know,
right.
But you know, now we're kind of looking at improving that situation, and you know, basically not being able to we kind of learned a lesson about relying on any one person owning equipment.
Sure.
Because how it kind of goes now, where we all kind of have this and that, and everybody maintains their own equipment. The company itself doesn't own any equipment, so we're hoping within the next year or so, you know, that we'll have a full complement of company-owned equipment, plus also, you know, our own personal equipment to grow too. So especially with the primary members, you know, the people, you know, that aren't peeling anywhere or going anywhere.
Yeah,
totally.
And we've built a lot of our own stuff as well. I mean, my garage looks like a 1980s Radio Shack exploded right now.
I've seen your garage, bro, when you came on that Instagram Live, man. Like, that was impressive. And the fact that you were working on some crazy piece of equipment as we spoke just proved and showed that, you know, it is kind of do it yourself.
Yeah,
if you do it, you make it happen, you know?
that was it's basically an audio encoder that takes any type of digital audio and encodes it into a laser beam. So, the FCC highly regulates any types of transmissions. You can't have a broadcast station or anything like that without an FCC license, but they do not regulate the ability to shine a flashlight or shoot a laser. So
Yeah.
what I do is I take digital audio through like an iPod or an iPhone,
Yeah.
and I run it through a system that encodes, or it modulates the voltage of the laser to match with the frequencies and the wavelengths of the sound. So I can take any sound, whether it's Imagine Dragons or a recording of Digital Pi, and if we see an anomalous object, and after we verify that it's not a
It's a
domestic
shiny
aircraft,
light that sends out
Yeah.
information.
we can shoot a laser beam at it with an audio recording, and hopefully get a
Okay.
response back.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
basically, it's a lot of information for saying that we're able to utilize just about any frequency of light in a laser beam, ultraviolet, infrared, and send out information and receive information that way.
Hey,
Nice.
Jeremy, didn't you post some of that on the Osiris Instagram?
Yep. I've
But-
got a
but that
couple
if you-
demo videos of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
plug
all
that.
the links for you guys are in the description below.
Oh,
Well, let's
okay.
jump onto the Osiris, because I know that you've had teething problems over the last year with that. So are you able to give us an update? Are things progressing at all?
Yeah. So the Osiris is going through a refit. When it goes out on expeditions, I have a learning curve because honestly, nobody's really ever done this before. So you outfit it with equipment, you take it on an expedition, you use the equipment, you find out what works, you find out what doesn't work, what could be improved, and then when you're home, you gut it, you cut all the wires, and you make it more ergonomical. You replace one camera with one that works better. You find out that your Wi-Fi absolutely sucks, and you replace your modems, and it gets rebuilt after every event because you learn what works and what doesn't. Right now, I just told the guys today, as a matter of fact, I'm starting to collect the pieces and parts required to build what is called a passive radar. Again, the FCC doesn't allow you to transmit the wavelengths that a radar system uses without an appropriate license.
Right.
But what a passive radar does is our skies are inundated with TV signals and radio signals and everything that's being broadcast already.
Sure.
And aircraft and hopefully UAP already reflect all those signals. So what you do is you build a device that takes the reflectivity from all the signals that are already out there, and it measures them, and then it displays the track of that object based on all the other radio signals that's reflecting. So that is going to
Nice.
be incorporated into the Osiris as soon as I'm done with it.
And I think, Gary, I've heard, I can't remember where, that you plan on adding another vehicle to the fleet, let's say.
Oh yeah, Jeremy's been a big inspiration, and I've got a little bit of criticism for having him on my team because of how critical he can be when he's attacked online. I don't care. Frankly, I don't care, because this man has spent endless hours writing up articles, dealing with problem after problem with his truck, and providing his truck to us when we went out to Skinwalker, providing his truck anytime we need it, and basically he himself, not to just blow, not to just toot his horn. I gotta deflate him a little bit. He's had to learn how to be a team again. Because he's been out of the service a long time. Like, me and him and Jason, when we're working together, physically together, we just right into lockstep because we're all military.
Yeah.
But once we're separated and you're in your own home and stuff like that, we kind of all have to learn to be that team again. We're not, he's not lone wolfing it, and he had spent so many hours, and, you should have seen the things this guy did to make sure that truck was ready to go. And when it did break down, was able to keep keeping it going, literally he went to Walmart, this guy. All right. So his throttle cable broke in his truck. Right.
On location.
Yeah, on location while we were in California, and he decides, all right, I got a great idea. I'm going to go to Walmart and get a picture hanging kit, use the wire from that and bungee cords, and he literally drove his truck home that way.
I had a bungee cord going from the motor on my throttle cable over my hood around the passenger door, and I was using my hand to control the gas pedal.
Way.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's a real life MacGyver, and his personality quirks aside, I've had no problems with him. He's been a great addition to the team. Right. Maintains his position. He's done great work. He's a pain in my ass, but so is everybody else. But he that's why I decided to start that, the Save the Osiris Fund, because he was in a pretty dark place. He had some personal issues happen that were out of his control, that were just a rough situation. His truck was broke down. The registration was coming due. He was looking at, pretty grim times. And, I thought to myself, this is the least I can do for this guy. Just start talking to people about, because we need to get this truck up and running. We need to get it operational properly to where he's not having to jury rig this thing every time we bring it on the road. Because it's a capable vehicle, but it's an old vehicle, which means that things are going to go wrong. It needs, and so the first portion of this is, basically to get it up and running, get it upgraded, get everything working properly. And then once we get it to where we want it, then I'm going to change that fund to the Osiris Maintenance Fund, right. And I'm still going to keep telling people, donate to the Osiris, because, this guy puts his heart and soul into this thing. And, without those donations, that truck just rots, and he's putting his own money. Well, when it comes down to it, anytime his family has a problem, it's going to end up being put in a back burner, because the money's just not going to be, there's no extra money. So
it's priorities, isn't it? As well, family first, always.
We're all volunteers in UAPx. None of us get paid. We all either have jobs or are looking for jobs. Plus, we all have families. Yeah. And UAPx is more requirement than a normal 40-hour-a-week job. So we're balancing everything that we do with UAPx with our 9-to-5s and with our families, and trying to maintain sanity at the same time.
Of course, understandable. I think people just see a little bit of us, and I don't mean necessarily me as much, but a little bit, as they see us on Twitter and social media talking about UAP and that, and they don't see the family and the day-to-day life you have to go through, and then the spare minute you get to do a little bit of something, you do it, and it's
none of us have golden clad toilets in our houses.
You don't?
You don't?
You do?
I thought everybody did. Come on now. Apparently, according to Twitter, we're making that UFO money.
Oh man.
Man, that UFO money, you're lucky if you get a hole in the ground.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's it's a labor of I'm not even gonna say it's a labor of love, but it's a labor of passion. Because
labor of dedication.
This is something that you have to be dedicated to wanting the final answer.
Yeah.
And all of us have been touched in one way or another by our own individual experiences regarding the phenomenon, and we're all here for one unified goal of finding out what the hell that was.
You say that my experience with the phenomena is not a personal thing. I've never seen anything, but it's because of people like you guys who, only a few years ago, when I was sat in the background probably in this room in front of this computer, on my own for many nights, watching stuff, digging deep into documents and hearing your guys' stories, that kept pushing my passion higher and higher, to the point where I had to become involved in the subject. So you know, it does. I may be different from you guys in that respect, but at the same time, we are in that same position of wanting the same answers and doing our own part where we can. And, you know, I'm dedicated to it to the point where I could be out earning a really good wage doing my old IT work and stuff, but I don't. I dedicate it to this. And, you know, I'm not looking for a sob story or even I'm not looking for thanks, but I'm just being realistic and letting people know that it ain't just a simple case of, yeah, we do this for the crack. And
you can't, you have to take a break. You have to step back from this because this is such an enigma. It's such a mystery.
Well, speak for yourself.
There's so many rabbit holes that you can go down.
Yeah.
And I think, to be honest with you, I think that we here at UAPx, we actually have it easier than a lot of other people because everybody else that's out there is, you know, they're doing what you did, Vinny. They're going through historical documents. They're looking at cases. And we know that there are a lot of things that are fabricated. There's a lot of lies out there. There's disinformation. And some of it is so damn convincing that you don't know what you're reading is the truth or not. We don't deal in that. We deal in hard scientific facts that
we may not have the flashy, you know, we're going to drop this video at high noon on Friday bullshit. But, you know, you can guarantee what you do get from us is going to be the real deal. It may not, you know, it may not be up to your, you know, your hopes and desires, but we're going to keep at it until we do give you something that is up to your hopes and desires. And hopefully what we do have will blow everybody away. You know, there's a question, is there any way that you can help us? Well, there's three ways that you could help UAPx. Either you can donate to the Save the Osiris Fund to help with upgrades and with funding of the Osiris. And then if you go to our website, you can donate one of two ways. There's a tiny little link in the middle that's a PayPal donation place where you can actually donate once, you know, a one-time donation, or we actually have a Patreon set up right through our website.
We also accept crypto payments on that as well. There's the QR codes. If anybody is crypto savvy and wants to do donations in crypto, we can accept those as well.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways you can help. So I mean, it's you know, we need the crypto for our black market spending. No, just kidding. But
those are for the missile launchers.
Yeah, that's for when we start working with Raytheon.
Don't even joke, because people will take this to
the
bank.
They'll run that and take that a long way.
Take that snippet and run with it. I don't care. If you go to the Raytheon website, they actually promote the 2004 event, the Nimitz encounter, basically saying that they tracked on UFOs with their systems. So I thought that was pretty badass.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah, there's some wild stuff out there. You know, sitting back and kind of scouring over social media and reading about ourselves, it's amazing to see the rumors that have been ascribed to us. You know, there's a rumor that the United States government passed on our offer of giving them data. First off, we haven't finished analyzing our data. Second, and I'll say it again, we will not provide the U.S. government early access or direct access outside of the way that the public gets it.
Well, hold on. You know, I'm going to caveat that. They show up armed at my house, they can have the hard drive. I'll be dead honest. I'm not going to go on these. I'm not going to get.
We won't do it voluntarily.
Die! The cold did my. No, my family's in the house, dude. These dudes show up. Here you go. You know, but you know, when it comes down to it, as an organization, we are not providing the data to anybody at the moment at all. Yeah. Nobody, not even just ourselves. That's our scientists.
Nobody's passed on it. Nobody's even had a chance to evaluate it and say it's good or it sucks. I mean, that has not happened. There was another one that I saw on Reddit. Somebody said that UAPx was projecting whale song into the ocean to attract underwater UAPs. No. We don't project anything into the ocean, and we certainly don't broadcast whale songs up into the air either.
I think that probably extrapolated from our, like our origins though, because like when we first started, Kevin Day had this idea that these UAPs might be tracking, whale pod migrations through that
Yeah.
area.
I
And,
remember.
and that may have been like where that kind of evolved from. So, I mean, you know how these things evolve on Twitter and on 4chan and, and all these other, friggin' and Reddit. Reddit's almost as bad as Twitter at this point. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like,
hell yeah.
Well,
Wait,
that's one of
Reddit's
the reasons
worse.
we started our own Discord channel, and the Discord channel in less than a month has gone from like 5 people to almost I think we're approaching the 500 person mark now,
Whoa.
and it
now
is
I'm going to go ahead and give all the credit to Jeremy for this, because I actually created this Discord channel like months and months and months and months ago. It was just like, okay, I'm just going to set it up just so just to have that place marker for UAPx on there,
Yeah.
so nobody else can like take the UAPx name,
Yeah.
Right.
And then Jeremy's like, oh, we got a server. Oh, like, yeah, here you go, invite, boom. Next thing you know, we got like 100 followers, and I can't even keep up with the chat anymore, because used to be I could be able to pop on there, and I had my 3 faithful guys that were always in there asking questions, and and then I could hop back off. Now I get on there, and I'm like, I don't even bother to try to read all the shit. I just go right to the bottom and say, hey guys, I'm
Well,
here. What's going on?
it's amazing because it's the antithesis of Twitter. Twitter is restricted in character limitations. You're forced
Yeah.
to be very curt and very direct with your comments. On our Discord channel, it's not a hate fest. It's a community of people who are actually, using their words to ask questions and provide opinions. And I haven't had to ban anybody from there. It's self-policing, and it's a really cool place to kind of chill out.
And honestly, I mean, unless you want to come onto our server and just be a straight dick, you're not going to get banned if you have a contrary opinion. I'm a big proponent, as you can tell. Mick West, he's my boy. I don't have a problem with anybody that's cynical. I don't have a problem with anybody with like I don't care if you come on the server and say you guys are all full of shit and what you saw was government crafts. Okay, it might be. I don't know. Yeah, your theory could be right, but it's just, unless you got proof, it's just as whacked out as ours.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Somebody just asked where to find the Discord server. If you guys go to our website, uapexpeditions.org, on the bottom of every page is an icon that will take you to an invite for the Discord server.
For everybody watching this that's not live and after the fact, I will add this as soon as this finishes. I'll pop it in the description with all the other links, so don't worry.
Yeah, and in the future, I'm working on a podcast of my own. So it's it's going to be something individual, something for me to have on my own platform to kind of feel good about myself.
Hey, is this a YouTube channel that you've currently got set up already, or is that a new thing?
No, I'm probably going to end up rebranding that channel. It'll still be me, but I'm paying for the fancy stuff to be developed for me. The name and everything like that. And before anybody says, "Oh, he's paying for his," I'm not paying for subscribers. I'm just paying for cool overlays and to look a little bit more professional. Because if you go up to my site now and you see Lunch with Gary, you'll see why I need help. So
yeah, that brings up another thing. Our website, we've redesigned it, and it's not great. We are, again, all volunteers. None of us are paid, and I don't think there's anybody on staff with UAPx that has any experience in marketing or graphic design or anything like that. So what we've put out there is the product of our own effort. We didn't have anybody come in and put it together. So as we move forward,
if you think it's shite, just remember, we didn't go to school for that. We just were like, that looks cool. Yeah, it looks cool. All right, let's do it. Yeah. So I only got a couple more minutes to give you guys. If there's any other questions that you have, Vinny, or if there's like something specific to me that you want to talk about, now's the time, because I can't keep my sister in there with that horde of children for too much longer.
Hey, brother, I appreciate that so much, man. And no, I don't. This was literally what I said to you guys or the other guys before, is that I wanted this to be an organic conversation. I didn't want to throw massive questions at you guys, because I know there probably wouldn't be massive answers, because we're still in that kind of period where we're waiting and you're under your NDA for the what everybody really wants to know. So this was just a touch base, speak to you guys, let us know what's going on, and we can speak again later in the year, maybe in the summer when you're a lot freer. And that,
Yeah, we're gonna be going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, once the unsaid project that we can't talk about that we might have done does debut, we'll be free to talk about a lot more. But also remember that we still have scientists that are working on stuff, and they'll have just to submit. I mean, they're working on their white papers right now, which means that they're going to be submitting them around March timeframe, which means that they may not even be published yet. But as soon as they say that they're comfortable with us starting to share this data, the data is going to start going out. But it's still, we're still going to be going through them, Kevin and Matthew, to make sure what they want or feel comfortable with us talking about. Yeah. And since we're not the scientists, we want to make sure that we're talking about them correctly, and that we're not, we're not misrepresenting anything. So
we can talk about the process of how the papers get published, but we can't talk about the science in there, because honestly, there's equations inside of there that make my brain melt when I look at them.
Yeah, they send that across to me, and I'm like, I'm a knuckle dragger,
I'm a bit the opposite. I try to replicate it and then realize that they're using programs. Oh, you should have seen that realization in my head. So they're sending out this stuff for us, and I'm over there with pen and paper, and I'm like, oh, geez, freaking Christ, how do they do this so fast? I'm literally doing this all out by hand, and and I'm like, I don't even understand how they do all this stuff. And then Matthew's like, oh yeah, we use computer programs. We punch in the numbers and do this, and it just pops us to the answer. I'm like, oh. Suppose I should have gone to.
Thanks for sharing, guys.
Yeah, well, if you went to college and you worked in the field, I mean, it's just like with any job, it's like when I was a cable guy. I mean, how many of you guys know how to run a DSAM meter that can check your cable? Exactly. So you don't know the shortcuts until you're in the field. So
yeah,
absolutely, man. But listen, Gary, man, I appreciate your time, man. We won't keep you any longer, brother. I really do appreciate your time so much, man. You've been supportive of me personally, and I appreciate that so much, man. So, Jeremy, and I try, man. But like I said to these guys earlier, I support these. I say these. There aren't any others like you, and I supported you guys from the start, and I'll continue to do whatever I can for you guys to push your message, your work. Anything you're doing out there, I am 100% on your side. So just know that. No, anytime, man. So Gary, you can jump off whenever you want. I'll keep Jeremy and Jason, because if anybody in the chat really does have any burning questions, fire away.
Yeah, now's the time to ask.
Jason's been doing good. He's been in that chat now. But yeah,
normally I have 3 monitors, so I usually am listening to chat and everything like that. When you get a little bit later of a podcast, it's a lot easier for me because I know the kids are down. Jeremy, Jason, if there's any pressing matters, I can still be reached by text message to answer any specific questions and stuff like that.
Gary, thank you for not turning on your turn signal while you were in your car.
Yeah, bro.
There you go.
The blinkers.
Is it really that loud?
It sounds like one of those wind-up monkeys that's hitting the cymbals.
We'll just say I might have to. We have a weekly meeting, and sometimes I'm on the road.
Right.
So I hit I'm sitting here waiting at a light, and Jason's over there losing his mind.
It came up in the private chat earlier, and I was like, okay, I hear you. I guess I gotta hear it for myself one day. Hey guys, record it for me one time.
Yeah.
No worries.
All right, take it easy, guys. Thank you for having us. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Hey, I just saw a question in here. Has the data you collected changed any of your minds? And I'm going to tell you right now, yeah, for me, I'm the skeptic. I'm a skeptic when it comes to all of this. So like, yeah,
Damn.
that's about as far as I can go.
That's cool, man. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Walker Dale. I know I've had you on the screen for a while. Thank you so much for the $5. Love your work, gentlemen. Echo One rules. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. Damn, Jason, that's a statement, and I like it. So that gives me hope. That gives me hope for the future. Let's say that.
I think the best way to describe the way that I come into this is always, to me, anything that I see is provable until it's unprovable. And then it's man-made until it's not man-made.
Right. I like that. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. We don't care. Well, I'm not going to say we don't care. We don't have a vested interest in the ultimate answer. If it turns out unprobable, but if it turns out that everything is domestic and has a prosaic explanation, that's the answer. Yeah. If it turns out that a portion of it is and the rest of it is off-world, that's the answer. But we are approaching this in a way to find the answer, not to create data that conforms to an answer.
Right.
Sure. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. And I'm not, I hate it when people sensationalize things. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah. Got to keep it grounded as much as we can, because in this subject, that ain't easy.
Yeah, we got taken to task for that press release, and it was literally people were saying that we were hyping discoveries and that this is another incident of somebody saying that they have all this miraculous stuff, but we can't tell you right now. And it was literally nothing more than an end of year statement to recap what we've done, what we're working on, and when people can expect to see our results. We don't even have our final results yet.
Right.
So we weren't hyping anything. We were just keeping people informed of progress.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When I saw that, I was like, God, you guys hired someone good to write that. I'm kidding.
Hey, pat on the back, Jeremy.
Well, that's what I do. I'm a tech writer. So one of the things that I do, and one of the reasons that I've caught so much crap on Twitter is because my previous occupation, I was a tech writer for the U.S. defense industry, specifically with drones. I worked for a company that maintained, built, flew, designed payloads for a wide variety of military unmanned aerial vehicles. So, and I carry a clearance. I still have a clearance, but my job was to go out, interview subject matter experts, find out what our capabilities are, and then write proposals and submit them to the U.S. government on behalf of this company. So if the government was saying, hey, we need a unmanned aerial vehicle that's capable of 60,000 foot flight, 22,000 kilometer coverage area, and with this sensor payload, I would have to write the capability statement of what we have, how it can do its job and everything. So I'm very keyed in to the world of drones. And one of the reasons I got so much crap on Twitter is because when people would post videos, I would look at them and I'd be like, oh, that's an RQ-9. Oh, that's an MQ-185. I knew what it was because I was privy to that world. And I've even had discussions with our physicists because the science that they're using to analyze the data is based on what is available to them. If they don't have a clearance, if they don't know that something exists, they have to base their analysis on things that they're aware of. So I've had to educate these guys a little bit every now and then as to, there's some really wild stuff in our skies that nobody has any idea about.
Totally. I'm just going to check on my daughter again. Sorry, guys, but I'm going to throw this question up. How do you avoid biases in the analysis of the data or the data retrieved? I think they meant. And I'll listen in.
How do we avoid biases?
I think I'll start that. Is when you start the analysis of the information that we've already retrieved, the bias in which direction that you're wanting it to be could definitely show up. But when you've got other people within your group who are looking at this from a completely different perspective, and you take all of the collective information and put it together, because you've got somebody like me who's a skeptic, who's like, this can be explained. And what we do is we try to prove ourselves wrong. We'll say, okay, this is what we think it is. Let's prove ourselves wrong and prove that this is, whatever. So when you can prove yourself wrong and let somebody else do that and then prove you wrong, and then you go back and forth. And Jeremy, I don't know if you can add some more to this.
The other thing that people have to remember is we have one PhD candidate and 2 doctoral PhDs with UAPx that are physicists. These are academics, tenured professors that are on staff at universities. And the UAP phenomenon is a career-ending death move for most academics. It's changed a little bit recently, but it's still not taken that seriously in the academic community. So if a report comes out from UAPx, authored by our physicists, that is slanted towards something being off-world technology, or they come out and make a definitive claim that something is alien, that could be career-ending for them. So we have to look at things not only through science, but really definitively get down into the minutia of things to make sure that the papers that are published don't affect the careers of our physicists. So we have to be very cautious in how we approach it. And it's not saying that we're out to disprove everything, but we are so cognizant of the fact that if we say something is anomalous, we have to have 350,000 pages of data to back it up that it is in fact anomalous.
Right. Totally. Moving on to this. I mean, thank you for that. That was awesome, both of you. Alien World Aquatics says, how come there isn't much talk about underwater drones? Jeremy McGowan.
God, I think we know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the floor of our own ocean.
Yep.
This is a human condition. We have not studied our own ecosystem. We don't know what's under the water. We're finding species every single day, and it's a hostile environment. It's easier to go to space than it is to go to the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
Makes sense. I think that's quite common knowledge, really, that we've explored very, very little of those depths across the Pacific and the Atlantic and those trenches. So, I mean,
to be honest, people stand on the surface of the planet and we look up and we see strange things in the sky. There's not a lot of scuba divers out there that are reporting strange things and able to pull their iPhones out and photograph it.
Good point. That makes complete sense. Well, listen, gentlemen, thank you so much. We'll give it. Well, a question just popped up, so I'll bring it up. It says, "Does Jeremy know or think a transmedium drone is in full operation right now?"
Oh yeah, just look at the bat. We've had the BAT. It's a small drone. It's probably about half of my size, and it's actually launched from a torpedo tube of a submarine. It can go fly around for a while, and then it can come back underwater and be submarine retrieved. We've had these in operation for quite some time.
There you go.
And that's not the only one.
Throw out this one last question from my good friend Jorn. A question for both. Has your view on this topic changed after your research?
A lot.
Yeah.
There you go. I wouldn't expect you to go into detail. Guys, thank you so much for the questions. We could probably keep going, but I'm going to let these guys get on with their day-to-day lives, because I really do appreciate the time that they've given us. We're nearly on the hour and a quarter mark. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. For everyone watching, if you do want to carry on the conversation, I may jump over to Instagram Live in a bit. If you want to come and hang out there, I'll be there. But this was a conversation that I wanted to have, and I knew they were in the middle of an NDA. So I knew this wasn't going to be a massive revelation conversation, but I just wanted to reiterate to people that UAPx have been doing great work. They continue to do great work. But at the same time, they're just regular people like me and you who are putting their families to one side, their day-to-day careers to one side, to, in pursuit of the same thing that we're all looking for, which is the truth and getting to the bottom of this phenomena. So I just wanted to do that for this time of year and to say that we appreciate the work they do. I will be supporting them fully forwards and continuing the conversation with them. Any funding that they require, I will put out information on that. You can go to the UAPx website. It's all linked below. You know, this is real people doing real work. This is not government related in any way, shape, or form. So I have to reiterate that. And thank you, gentlemen, for joining me tonight. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks, Vinny. You know, and something else I want to say is you got a trip coming up too that I think is going to be really interesting. So I'm looking forward to following you on that. That's going to be fun, man.
Thank you, man. You know, I talk the talk, I do the posts and put things out there, but you know, it's good for me to get an opportunity to do boots on the ground work. You know,
For sure.
it would just certainly add to my, I don't know what the word is, but who am I to deny that opportunity to actually say, hey, look, I care about it this much that I'm going to do it. Yeah, it happens to be a nice place. I'm getting flown out to Colombia to do it, but it's not a holiday in any way, shape, or form. Like I just, you know, just to reiterate that phrase, it's every day, early mornings, late nights, experiments, hiking, trekking through beautiful terrain. No, I'm kidding, man. It's going to be tough, but yeah, I'm going to bring everybody along for the ride. We're filming a documentary. There's, you know, it's just going to be a chance for me to prove to myself as much as everybody else that I'm in this for the long haul. I'm in this for the right reasons, and yeah,
stay humble,
man. Like I just, yeah, and this is what, yeah, that's a really good point. That hits home because, you know, I met you, Jason. Go on.
What do you hope to get out of Colombia?
Do you know what? An explanation. And at the moment, the way I look at the phenomena that we're going to be exploring, my lean is way towards prosaic. But you know what? What that will mean to me is that it will be one thing ticked off the list and I can move on to the next. You know, I'm not expecting UFOs and UAP, and I'd love it to be, obviously, but it's like I said, it's an opportunity to go boots on the ground and do some work, put some graft in. You know, and not just sit behind a computer or a phone and put posts out there and research and spend hours behind screens. It's a chance to actually put my mouth where, no, put my.
What that mouth do?
You know what I'm trying to say, man. You know.
Well, I tell you what, when you come back from Colombia, man, get with us, because you know, one of the things that we would love to do is we would love to take a look at that data. We would love to be able to even work with you prior to the trip to help you set up a standard operating procedure that would allow our physicists to be able to review the data, knowing the provenance, knowing how the equipment was set up, and you know, the things right down to the directionality of the cameras and everything like that. And we'd love a chance to be able to take a look at that.
That's really, really, wow, that's really nice of you to say so. I mean, we have a guy who's ex-military, ex-CIA with some serious equipment that's coming out with us. So I'll put that to the boss who's behind it all, and we'll have conversations. So it's good to know that we have that support as well, though. So I really do appreciate it.
We don't compete with anybody. We're all humans. We're all trying to find the same answer. You know, we're not doing this for fame. God knows we're not doing it for fortune. We're doing it for the final answer. And whoever gets that final answer, I just hope to God they share it with everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, absolutely. I mean, I'm in this for that exact reason. I'm honored to be able to be associated with such organizations as UAPx. So to me, to be able to work alongside, it's a no-brainer, absolute no-brainer. It means so much. So I really do appreciate it.
We appreciate you, Vinny.
Really, absolutely.
Thank you so much, guys. So, guys, thank you so much. I'll let you crack on. To everyone that's watched this live, I really do appreciate you. To everyone that watches this after the fact on YouTube, thank you so much. And this will also be going out on the Anomalous Podcast Network in association with That UFO Podcast. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate your support. It's been humbling for the last year, and I will continue to do it. So thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow, where Ross Coulthart joins me. You can head over to my social media pages for all the details. But for now, I will see you later. Peace. Bye-bye.